Today we're going to discuss creating a supportive environment. In last week's episode, we were talking about what do you do when you run into external resistance. And I know we ran a little bit long on that take last week, and there was a reason why, is we really had a lot of requests for information on that. And the reason we're concerned about time is two reasons. One, we host these videos on our site, but we also put them up on YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, and they've got some time restrictions. But secondly, it's that we want to keep your attention. I don't know how well you would do or how well I would do if I was sitting here running on for 10 or 15 minutes about, a specific subject. But there was so much content regarding that, and so many people asked about it, we did make that video a little longer. And this one may also run long because, again, people were asking a lot of questions regarding this topic, which really followed up nicely to what we released last week, which is, how do you create a supportive environment when you don't have that available to you? There's a saying that you become the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. You don't become the leader of that group. You become the average of that group. And a lot of people are in situations, whether it's self-imposed because they're not comfortable or they don't know where to reach out and find a support system. They're in a situation where the people that they're surrounding themselves with maybe are not playing at the level they want to play, or geographically they're restricted, that they don't have access to mastermind groups or seminars or book discussion groups. Well, it doesn't matter where you are. You can create a supportive environment. A supportive environment can be people, or it can be things that you surround yourself with, or things that you feed your mind with. Jerry loves my sharing this story that my personal development journey started in a jail cell. So you can't get much more isolated or in a non-supportive environment than that. That's where I read my first personal development book, which was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And that book impacted me so dramatically. One of the things that Napoleon Hill shared in that book was that, I don't remember whether it was him specifically or someone that he was sharing the story about, they didn't have access to a mastermind group either. So what they did was they chose 5 people that they totally respected, totally admired. And some of these were former presidents, some of them were scientists, and they read every piece of information they could get about these 5 people. And then when they had a problem, they would say, what would George Washington do? What would Ben Franklin do? What would John F. Kennedy do? They knew so much about these people, they could actually create little conversations based on understanding how these people dealt with those situations. So even if you're isolated in a remote village somewhere watching this on YouTube or our website, you have access to that information by searching. Pick out people that you want to emulate, that you want to learn from, that you would be honored to surround yourself with. Now, some people, their geographical restriction is not that bad. Another part of my journey was, as I progressed, I was living in a small town called Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, very small population. But I had committed at that point that I was A, going to stay sober, B, I was going to deal with the fears, the anger, the limiting beliefs, all these different things that were going on in my head that had led me down this self-destructive path, and that I was going to go back to living my dream, which as a child, the main thing I wanted to do was I wanted to be a singer and a songwriter and a performer. That's what I did for the majority of my life. And I committed to those things. So even in this little town, Lock Haven, I found groups of people who could help me and support me in that journey. I had to drive 30 miles to get to these meetings where I would be with these 6 to 12 people, and we would spend an hour brainstorming and talking about problems that we were having in our lives and creating kind of a buddy system where, I would say, I'm struggling with this right now. And somebody go, I had that same problem. Here's how I dealt with it. and you progress. You progress on this journey of self-awareness. You learn new skills. You move to certain levels. And then you grow past that group and you need to go, okay, what's next? Some of those people will grow with you and some won't. Another one of those areas for me was in music. Again, in that part of Pennsylvania, I had gotten back into the music industry and I had the joy of being in one of the top drawing bands in that region for that time. And we reached a place where we were filling clubs and we were doing better than national acts on attendance at clubs. But there came a point where the band was not willing to go any farther. My dream and my goal was to record, to write original music, to travel, to perform, and they wanted to stay inside of a comfort zone. So in my professional life, I had to make a choice. I actually made the choice to physically relocate because I didn't have the resources and the support system for what I wanted to achieve in Lock Haven. I moved to a town in New Jersey that was right outside of New York City. Now I was immersed in the music industry. And with that move, I was not only immersed in the music industry, I found opportunity to go to workshops and book discussion groups and seminars to also grow in the personal development journey. They kind of coincided with that move. Now, I also reached a point, even being in New Jersey and New York City, where the challenge was I would go to these seminars, I would get all this great information, and then I would be sitting around going, I don't have anybody else to talk to and to learn from. So what did I do? I got involved in creating a group that got together on a regular basis. We were called the Seventh Power. We created it as a nonprofit corporation because we wanted to take and contribute to others. And we all got together to share our experiences, and we had book discussion groups, and we did all these things. We created that environment. Now, for wherever you are geographically or on your journey, you have opportunities to create an environment that supports you. Sometimes that's by surrounding yourself with physical human beings. Sometimes it's by the books that you read, the television shows you watch, the websites that you visit. There was a point in my life that my environment was my bedroom, and I papered the walls in my bedroom with printings of not just motivational sayings, but things that I had committed to myself. You will do X. And my wall, every time I looked around me, there was things in front of me that were reminding me of the journey that I was on. It was an environment that was supporting the fact that I was on this path of growth. I was committed to success in my relationships, in my health, in my sanity. Your environment can be many things. There's a saying that 2 brains are more powerful than 1. So the action step that we want to offer in this video, it's going to be different depending on where you are geographically for some of you. If you're in a major city or a larger city, look around in the newspapers, look around online, television ads. You're going to find workshops, seminars, book discussion groups. Look in the phone book for a wellness center. Go there. Find other people that you resonate with, that you connect with, who are working on the same things you are, and then make the commitment to stay in touch with them. If you're not in a metropolis or an area that has something like that, use the internet as a resource. There are discussion books, there are forums, there are chat rooms, there are all sorts of places where you can meet like-minded people. And if you're in such a rural area that you don't have much access to either, and I'm sorry, you do have access if you're watching this video to do the internet, do what Napoleon Hill talked about. Create that mastermind group by studying the lives of people that you want to emulate. What I want to ask you to commit to is in this next week, find one person that you can align with. Again, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's online, find one person and commit to supporting each other, commit to sharing each other's ideas, commit to sharing your struggles, commit to sharing your goals and your dreams. And the 2 of you will find a 3rd and a 4th. Ultimately, I'd love to see you find at least 5, but start with just committing to get 1. You have our website as a resource. We're here to help you in every way that we can. I look forward to hearing your results. I look forward to connecting with you soon. I look forward to being a part of your support system. Take care, and we'll see you soon.